VAMP, Chapter 18. On Tuesday, Candida walked into the bar and looked around. What a drab, horrible place, she thought. It was then she noticed a man with black hair and dark brown eyes staring at her from a table in the back corner of the bar. She smiled and headed over towards him. "Hi," she said as she approached him. "Hello. I'm sorry I was staring. It's just that you're very pretty. You remind me of someone I know. My name is Ryan," he said, holding out his hand for her to shake. She grabbed his hand and noticed his reaction to how cold she was. Or rather, no reaction. He knows, she thought. This could be good or bad. "I'm Candida, and maybe you can help me. I'm looking for someone. Her name is Gretchen, and I got word that she moved here recently. Do you know of her?" "Yeah, I know her." Ryan stopped and looked around the bar and leaned in closely to Candida, even though he had a feeling that she would have no problem hearing him at any volume. "Are you and Gretchen related?" asked Ryan while gesturing air quotes around the word. Candida's eyebrows scrunched together, and she looked down at the table while she said, "I see she couldn't keep her big mouth shut. Actually, she didn't want to tell us. Only a handful of us know what she really is, and it was all because of an accident. We were working on a crab boat, and one of our crewmen went overboard, and yeah, blah blah, I don't fucking care. You obviously know. You don't seem scared or even fazed by what we are," she said. "I was at first. I thought she was lying. But then she sucked some blood from me. I saw what happens to your eyes when you guys are hungry. That shit's creepy, man. I like them much better gray," he said. "Could you take me to where she is? I'd really appreciate it," Candida said, while placing her hand on Ryan's bicep. Ryan set down his burger and wiped his mouth with a napkin, then shook his head and said, "Sorry, beautiful. She's out at sea right now. Won't be home for 2 more days." "Well, maybe I'll just hang out with you until she gets back, and you can fill me in on everything you know about us," said Candida, while sitting back against her chair and looking around the bar. "Why do you want to see Gretch so badly? She made it seem that she had no friends and no regrets about leaving Romania," said Ryan. "Let's just say we have some unfinished business," said Candida as she dug her nail into the tabletop. "Why are you so willing to talk to me?" Ryan looked at Candida for a good minute. She really was pretty, an exotic kind of beauty, maybe Egyptian. Kind of reminded him of the princess girl from The Mummy, the one painted in gold. She had olive-toned skin, although maybe she'd figured out something like Gretch had. And incredibly straight black hair that went right to the middle of her back, with full bangs coming down just above her eyebrows. And her soft facial features made her almost look porcelain doll-like. And she was taller and leaner than most women he knew. "Honestly," he said, "just kinda want to fuck some shit up for someone." "So what's in it for me if I help you?" he asked. It was now he noticed her posture as well. Her spine was straight as a board, her shoulders were perfectly back, and she reeked of class and confidence. "What do you want?" asked Candida. "I'm not sure at the moment, but I have a feeling it'll come to me. I just want to deliver some payback." "Jesus, you're bitter. What'd she do, choose your best friend instead of you?" joked Candida, but when she saw that Ryan wasn't laughing with her, she realized she'd hit the nail on the head. "So, she's got a lover." "Yeah, Aiden. He is the captain of one of the crab boats, and my former boss/friend, said Ryan as he slurped the rest of his pop. The sound made Candida flinch in annoyance, and she glanced at him with disdain. "Well, this changes things." She ran her hand through her hair and said, "I'm going to need your help much more than I thought. If you help me, I promise I'll give you whatever you want." "Anything, huh?" Ryan said as he raised both eyebrows. "Boy Scout's honor," she said as she held up her 2 fingers to make the Boy Scout sign. She found that she liked this man. He had the same dark, menacing characteristics that she had. She found him extremely attractive as well. "Maybe I'll keep him as my new pet," she thought to herself. "So what's your plan?" asked Ryan. "Well, my original plan was to find Gretchen, ambush her, bring her back to Romania, to our clan, and kill her there. But now that there's this Aiden in the picture, my wheels are turning, and I'm finding that I could have a lot more fun with this." "Do you know Aiden well? Where he lives, how he acts, his beliefs, characteristics, talents, credit score, all that good stuff?" Ryan huffed and said, "Yeah, Aiden and I have been friends since we were, 6. I know everything from the guy's shoe size to what chick flick will make him cry like a baby. What do you want to know? Well, I'm thinking I want to get back at Gretchen by hurting her lover, so she knows how I feel. You know, that whole eye for an eye mantra? I'm thinking if I can kidnap Aiden, bring him back to Romania with us, she'll follow for sure and have to face Vladimir, her maker, said Candida as she was twirling her hair around in her finger. She sat up quickly, stopped twirling her hair, and said, all this plotting is making me thirsty. You got any hobos around here? No, too damn cold for them, but Gretchen fed off me once and I don't mind it. And actually, in a creepy, kinky kind of way, I kinda liked it, said Ryan as he lifted his eyebrows up and down. Really? Well, I can't very well do that in public, so how about we go back to your place? I'll feed and we can finish our plan, said Candida, standing up and grabbing her bag from the other chair. Candida followed Ryan to his house after he'd finished eating. She walked right in like she owned the place and plopped herself down on the living room floor. Come here, she said to Ryan. Ryan walked over to her and sat next to her on the floor. She reached for his hand and held his wrist to her mouth and bit. Ah, said Ryan. It was an uncomfortable feeling at first, but then, just like with Gretchen, he felt like his arm had gone to sleep. When Candida was finished, she lowered his hand and licked her lips. Now to planning, she said. Do you have any paper? It helps if I have something to write down on so I can see a timeline. Yeah, I'll go grab some, said Ryan. He walked out to the kitchen, opened a drawer, and came back and sat down on the floor with Candida. We are going to take Aiden. We're going to kidnap him and take him to Romania. If Gretchen is truly in love with him, she will know I was here, especially if Mason talks to her, and she will bring herself to Romania. Candida was scribbling down words and pictures on the notebook with a wicked smile on her face. Who is Mason? Asked Ryan. He is a friend of Gretchen's, who I've already had the pleasure of visiting. Now, how do we get Aiden? Well, they'll be back in 2 days from their fishing trip. We could wait at his house and take him then, said Ryan. Then how do we get Gretchen to find out he's missing? Asked Candida as she tapped her head. Leave a threatening note? She's not home. We could do something there to let her know that you've been there. I mean, she could smell you, right? Asked Ryan. True. I like that idea. You're so creative, she said as she dragged her hand over Ryan's chest. Okay, so, when will they be back? We need to work on this timeline. I think they'll be back on Friday, maybe Thursday, but probably late. Maybe around 9, whatever night, he said. Okay, Thursday is our starting point. We will be waiting in his house for him. I'll sneak up behind him and then hypnotize him. Like glamour him? That shit is actually real? Asked Ryan. Candida looked at him like he was a freaking idiot, then shook her head. No, you dumbass. I took classes in hypnotism 100 years ago. What do you think this shit is, the Vampire Diaries? She scoffed and went back to the papers in front of her. I can just put him in a trance and tell him he's coming with us for a fun vacation. I'll also arrange to have a private jet pick us up at the local airport. Once we get to Romania, we'll take him straight to Vladimir's castle, and we'll see where it'll go from there. He's just our toy to get Gretchen. Draw the mouse to the cheese, so to say, she said. What if she doesn't follow us? What if she's too scared to fight and just runs again? Said Ryan. Candida paused for a second and looked over at Ryan. You don't know Gretchen like I do. She won't leave Aiden behind because she'll know that I have him. And if I have him, he could die. Candida paused again, and then, as if a light bulb went off in her mind, she jumped to her feet and started pacing back and forth. Oh my gosh, it's too perfect, she said, as she turned to face Ryan and clapped her hands together. What is? Ryan asked. Oh, don't worry. It'll all make sense in good time, said Candida. Ryan looked at her with an eyebrow raised, but before he could say anything, she said, I had your blood, I know what you're feeling, and don't be jealous. You'll have your chance.